Well, hello everybody. This is going to be a little bit of a different video, or rather, I think maybe this is like probably the last. So we're switching around a lot of our formats here in 2026. We have a lot of new content coming, but it's going to be a little bit different. So if you are one of the people who are watching us on our live stream, that is going to change. We're not going to be doing our market updates on a live stream. You're going to have to either subscribe to our email list, or you're going to have to check them out on our YouTube channel. If you're seeing this on Facebook, I'm going to put that link down below in the comments so that you can see that. All right, so let's talk about first-time home buyers and really kind of the state of the market here in Southern California in 2026. I actually think this is one of those moments where people don't realize how good they have it. And I think I was looking through some of the stats, and I remember just a few short years ago, 2021, 2022, what it was like to be a first-time home buyer and really how difficult that market was, and really how much better it is today. But I don't want to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. We are going to go ahead and jump in here to take a look at our stats, and we'll go from there. All right, so probably the first thing, obviously, as usual, that you're seeing is our closed prices. And this is sort of our entry level. Blue line is entry level single family homes. The red line is condos. I think what's interesting is just watching here how differently these two markets have behaved. I have been saying this for a while now, in fact, screaming it for both my first time home buyers as well as my investors alike. Condos are on sale. The condo market is comparatively weak when compared with the single family home market, which has, to be honest, been remarkably steady. I mean, we've had a few ups and downs here, but the reality is these are normal seasonal moves. I expect this spring to be a pretty strong spring in both of these markets. We're seeing some early signs of that out there. Interested parties, people at open houses, these are sort of leading indicators of future sales. If we look at our monthly payment, now this is really probably one of the reasons why I think it's actually a great time to be a first-time home buyer. If you are a single-family home buyer, you're going to notice here, because of the interest rates, despite the fact that the prices haven't eased, this is really a good spot for you, right? Our payment index here, again, based on 5% down, mortgage insurance, taxes, all that stuff, is 6,074 on our entry-level single-family home. And that really is, if you look past across the whole last 12 months, that's really a much better number than we've seen. That's quite a bit lower, in some cases, almost 15% lower than it's been at the high point of the last year. This is a good thing for you. Now, if you are a condo buyer, it's even better for you. And it's even better because I'm looking at this number. I mean, we are at $3,834. That is not that much more than rent in a lot of places, except you get to own something. And when you look at the history over the last year, I mean, this is over a 20% discount versus a lot of points in the last 12 months. I mean, really, this is a great time, and there are a lot of opportunities out there. So really pay attention to that. If you look at our minimum household income, this kind of puts things into perspective. We're below $150,000 for that entry-level single-family home, as well as below $94,000. And yes, that is a low point in the last 12 months, and by quite a bit for our entry-level condo. I think it's really rare to see that great of a situation. I've got some people that I'm trying to nudge into homeownership because I think this is a unique opportunity, and I don't want to see people let this slip away because they just didn't realize how good they had it at the moment. If you look at our absorption rate, this took a huge dive, but really this is pretty much a seasonal artifact. You'll notice last year we actually dropped to 54% and 38% for our single family home and condos respectively. So this year it's actually slightly better than that. But this is pretty typical in the first few weeks of the year because a bunch of listings hit the market after sellers have waited. If you look at our total inventory, that did bottom out. It was still a little bit higher than it was at last year, where it bottomed out, but it's also rising relatively slowly. It's not going up quite as fast as you might expect. Our 14 days still active, that bounced back from a low point, but it is still less than the average. And what does this graph mean? Less means a more competitive market. So I see competition on the horizon probably coming up in the next few months. Finally, if you look at our week's supply of homes, this one is really interesting to me, and it tells me that the condo market might be taking a turn. So, despite the fact that the absolute number of condos has gone up, the weeks of inventory has gone down. What does that mean? It means that that condo market is heating up quite a bit. And in fact, we are at a point that is much more familiar with where we were in the middle of the year or even in the late spring for condos. If we take a look at our entry level single family homes, those are really riding pretty much in the same sort of a zone that we've seen. I think that number will come down again as we head into the beginning of spring. It usually bottoms out in February or March. I wonder if we'll hit the same numbers like we did last year, 7 or 8 weeks of inventory. We're only at 10 weeks of inventory. That's really not a lot in that single family home market. Anyhow, I mean, really, honestly, kind of a pretty interesting year. I don't want to see the first time home buyers out there let this opportunity slip away. And that's probably the biggest message that I can give you is, it's really easy in the moment to just see all the things you can't do. You can't buy the house that you want. You can't afford this particular neighborhood that you've been dreaming of. But the reality is, this is a better time than we've seen really in the last few months. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you know someone or you yourself should be a homeowner, we can definitely help you with that in the Southern California area. Obviously, there's links to get in touch with us down below. Thanks so much for watching. Lots of great content for you here in 2026, especially for our architecture and high style home lovers. Really, we're going to be putting out a lot of stuff. I'm incredibly excited. We'll see you again real soon.